I'm Doc.
And I'm Original J. Together, we're Lucky Boy Beard Company.
Buckle up. We're doing beard stuff.
Cha-ching. Here we are.
Here we are.
How you doing, Jay?
Good, Doc.
Really good to be back in the secret undisclosed location again.
Yeah. Always good to be here, smoking cigars and drinking whiskey and talking beard shit.
Talking beard shit.
Talking beard shit.
Yeah. Once again, you brought... Hey, now, what do we got here?
Special batch.
Ta-fucking-da.
You can't buy this in the store.
I'm not going to go blind drinking this, am I?
There are multiple ways they say that you may go blind, but this won't do it to
This
us.
isn't one of them.
So this is clearly by the packaging, not something you can buy in the store. I'll leave that open for future use. So a while back, I decided I want to get into homemade whiskey making. And I haven't made the full leap yet to distilling, but what I did is I researched a couple of grain alcohols to figure out what their mash bill is, and I chose one that I thought might work well for a bourbon style whiskey, because in reality it's just a grain alcohol before it's barrel aged.
Sure.
So I took what I thought would be a good starting point, I barrel aged it, and then I diluted it down from cask strength down to 90 proof. So what we have here is a semi-homemade bourbon. I have barrel aged it, even though I have not distilled it.
Home finished.
Home finished, yes, I like that. Home finished, 90 proof bourbon.
It's got a nice color.
Yep. Man, I've already had this, so I know what we're in for.
Well, it's oaky and hot.
I enjoy this.
Wow, my friend. I have to say, I was a little dubious. I was a little dubious at the beginning, but
Sláinte.
well done, Sláinte.
This is an enjoyable whiskey that's very easy to drink.
It's still a little hot for me.
There is some heat on the backside, you feel on the top of your throat,
Yeah.
but not overwhelming so.
Not so that
It doesn't burn going down.
Yeah, not so that I'd be afraid to light a cigar after taking a sip. But it's close.
It's no longer 129 proof like it was when it came off the barrel.
Well, are we going to start doing Lucky Boy bourbon now? See, can of frickin' worms.
Can of worms.
Can of worms.
It's
I
all
have to
good
say,
shit.
I have to say, I like that. Let's get these cigars going, and then I'd love to hear that process. Like, how did you do that?
So-
but cigars first.
Well, okay, so I'll start with mine then. A couple weeks back, I had mentioned, I don't know if I did or not, did we have, Hot August Night by Goss on the show before? Did we smoke it together or did we smoke it on camera? I don't recall.
We smoked it,
We smoked it.
but I don't think we did it on camera.
All right, so we're gonna have to do that.
We should, because
Yes.
that guy's got some,
Yeah.
some five-star smoking going on now.
So
for sure.
here's the deal. I ran into him online,
Mhm.
followed him for a while. His videos and photos are intriguing and they caught my attention. And I followed him for a little while and come to find out he's a local guy, lives next state up, I believe in Massachusetts.
Mhm.
A rep for a couple of companies, like a regional rep for a bunch of different brands. Plus he's got his own line. And his own line, that particular one, the Hot August Night, out of this fucking world, as you well know.
It is good.
That there's
I have
not
to
much
say.
that I find in the cigar world today that is new or exciting. That had a unique flavor to it. It's really good. But
Yeah.
one of the brands he reps is Dissident.
Yeah, nice.
And this one is called Block. It's a box press, which, just like you, it's got my number on it, but
For some reason, I like the box press one.
Mouthfeel.
For sure. mouth and finger.
That could be taken so wrong. Mouth and finger feel aside.
Just smell my finger. Oh, block.
Oh, block. Great cigars by this company, Dissident. I've had 3 different, this will be my 3rd different one, and I've loved every one so far, so that's all I've got to say about that. While I light this up, why don't you tell me what you've got?
My gears are turning, you know, maybe we can collab a Lucky Boy cigar. Anyway, what I've got, compliments of you, and again, it's a, what do they call it? It's a 5-star day for me because both the alcohol and the cigars are provided by somebody else. So I kind of like that. This is a Gurkha. It's a Hudson Bay. I don't know if you guys can see that, but a great label. I love the label on this. So yeah, I don't really know much about it. It's a torpedo. It's right in my gauge space.
It's in your size profile.
Yeah.
It's going to be slightly lighter than your typical profile that you smoke. And I'll be honest, I bought a couple of these a couple weeks ago, and I have smoked 2 myself, but I don't recall my tasting notes. So, so figure it out on your own. Meanwhile, this is the first block I've had. The other 2 I had were 2 different styles. This is, oh man, this is a tasty cigar, and this draws like nothing else. I mean, this is smooth.
Yeah, I like this. This is lighter than my normal.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of leaning in the, it's funny, I'm sort of going to the lighter side, you're going to the darker side. But I've had a couple of lighter, that Cedars CAO, I really kind of like that. It was much lighter. This isn't as light as some of the Olivas you were smoking when we first started doing this stuff. It's got a nice full body, but it's not, you know, it's definitely not a.
Right. This is definitely, in my opinion, a full bodied, a full flavored smoke. Not super spicy, so it doesn't give you that tingly on the tongue. But man, this is a, I wish I had one of these for you, but too bad. This is
I'm happy, I'm super happy for this, and now that's on my top 10, which is about at 50 now. So
yeah, that top 10 is growing
unfortunately,
quick.
it's growing.
I just had my local shop get me a box of Hot August Nights because I cleaned out their shop when I went there. Those are gone. I had them get me a box. I just got that box a week ago. They're half gone. So
It is a good smoke. You know, hats off to that guy.
Yeah.
It's good smoke.
So I'm going to have to get a couple more boxes of those ordered up, and I'm going to have to get a couple boxes of this one ordered up because this has been my favorite of the 3 dissidents I've tried.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on my list for sure.
I don't know who sells them around here, but we'll find
We'll ask
out.
Dave at Cigar Republic
Yeah.
to see if he can often get it if he doesn't normally carry it. But you know, the reps the cigar stores use are, you know, specific to them. Or
Right, they only
what
carry
is
certain
specific-
brands.
Right, exactly. So if he doesn't have a rep from these guys, then
But I'll reach right out and I'll have them brought into my shop,
Yeah.
my local shop,
Yeah.
because they do carry the brand if we can't get them at Dave. Yep.
cool. Next
Man.
time I'm up there, I'll grab one of those too.
And you know what, with that homemade corn whiskey bourbon stuff, whatever you want to call this, that's a great pair.
I think anything, man, I'm just,
Let's go.
just, like, I could feel the warmth spreading across my solar plexus.
Well, it's a cool morning here in the secret undisclosed location, located 48.7 meters below that new Asian rub and tug they just built upstairs. So give you a little warm and fuzzy down here in the basement.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, tell me what the process is with that. So you got some good old corn liquor.
Yeah.
Basically moonshine.
Grain alcohol.
Yeah.
Grain alcohol. And I forget the brand offhand. I actually took a photo of the label in my phone so I wouldn't forget it. But I researched the 3 or 4 different grain alcohols on the shelf to try to figure out what their mash bill is, right? Because as a bourbon, by definition, it's got to be 51% corn in the mash bill or higher. And every whiskey has different requirements to maintain that. So I chose a grain alcohol that had a mash bill. Some of them I couldn't figure out. They don't advertise, they don't tell you. But I chose one that would make the final product of which I like to drink. I like to drink bourbon. So I found the grain alcohol that I thought would suit best for a base for bourbon. And my wife actually, I think it was for Christmas a year ago, or maybe my birthday, she bought me this barrel aging kit, and it comes with a small volume. I think it's a gallon and a tenth, something like that. It holds a 175 plus a little more, so it might be a gallon and a half. And it's a charred oak barrel designed for aging whiskey. And I did a lot of homework. I like to know what I'm doing before I start. I did a lot of research. And long story short, the surface area of a small barrel relative to its volume is a higher ratio in a small barrel than it is in a large barrel, the ratio of surface area to volume. So the aging time is lower in a small barrel because you have a higher percentage of the volume that's in contact with the charred wood. The charred wood is what gives it the color and the taste. So
But wouldn't the surface area increase with the
it
larger?
increases with volume, but it's not a lineal increase.
But I mean, so there's not a comparative with the increased surface of, say, a 40-gallon
No.
barrel? Doesn't it rise up
So
to?
let's use 40 gallon and 1 gallon. The surface area to volume ratio.
Now, you gotta dumb this down, because I took math for poets in
Not from poets.
college, yeah, so.
Okay. So, as the barrel gets bigger, both the surface area inside and the volume increase. But it's not a lineal increase, it's an exponential change. So if you take a 1 gallon barrel and a 2 gallon barrel, the volume is exactly 100% larger, but the surface area is not. They don't grow at an equal ratio. So a smaller barrel requires less aging time than a large commercial barrel. I don't know how big those commercial barrels are. They have to be 150 gallons or something.
I don't know.
100 gallons.
I think they come in different sizes.
Yeah, they're big.
Because I've been to breweries where they're using bourbon cask to age their porters or their
Yeah.
stouts, and they're not that big. So
Huh.
there's different sizes, I
Gotcha.
think, depending on the batch.
So
they're
it-
more like 40 gallons or less.
So what would typically take in a bourbon average 2 years to get to the right maturity level of aging, this took 3 months.
Okay.
So it's a definite DIY at home if you are a bourbon drinker or whiskey drinker to be able to play and experiment.
It's a fun project. Like you, I also looked into distilling my own alcohol for home use and for personal.
For making hand sanitizer.
For personal consumption. And I looked into, like, you can get a number of different things. You can get charred oak, and charring, you're just taking a torch and charring the inside of
Right.
the barrel. So you can get charred oak, and you can get used barrels,
Yep.
which is kind of cool, which is what said breweries were doing with when they're,
Yep.
so, and that can change your profiles, and scotches maybe they'll finish a single malt in a sherry cask, and you'll get some of the sherry
A
across.
sweeter hint.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then also the distillation, I don't know,
I don't want you to feel left behind, so I'm gonna
please
make
do not
yours
leave me, yeah.
equal
do
to
not-
mine.
Do not leave me behind, I will definitely drink more of that. So, you can buy these pot stills, they're called pot stills. And some of them are hand-beaten copper,
Mm-hmm.
and the other thing they use them for, interestingly, is to create essential oils.
Yep.
And flower essences
Mm-hmm.
for medicinal or,
Or Homeopathic, yeah.
use, exactly. So that's how they sell them, because they can't sell, 10-gallon pot stills as alcohol generators, across the.
Right,
across
like I
the-
said, you're making hand sanitizer.
Right, so those aren't cheap, but man, they are just works of art. If you've ever, just Google handmade pot still, and they're beautiful. And, I think a 10-gallon one it's about $600. It's everything you need to start from scratch. And I don't know if everybody knows this. I found it fascinating. I think I have it right. All Scotch starts by making beer. So to make beer, you have to, cook your grain until you get what's called a wort, W-U-R-T. And that looks like beer, but it's not inoculated with yeast yet or anything like that. So that wort, then you pitch the yeast, agitate it, and you let the yeast eat the sugars and create alcohol. They're a friendly giving bacteria. Right, so, well, I don't think, is yeast a bacteria? I don't think it's a bacteria.
Well, it's a live, active culture, is that the proper term?
Yeah, it's a living organism that provides us alcohol, and all we have to
And
do
bread.
is give it sugar.
Right, they give us bread and alcohol. I mean, that's all you need to survive in this world.
That's what I call a symbiotic relationship. I will give you sugar till you die, you'll give me beer and whiskey.
Till we die.
So, until we die. So first you make beer, right? And then you distill that, and that's how you get to the whiskey, to the Scotch, which I think is really cool because you can make so many different beer profiles. And I don't do it anymore, but I have all the stuff still to brew my own beer at home, and that was a fun period of my life. And the next evolution would have been distilling my own whiskey. So you can get used whiskey barrels, used bourbon barrels, because they can only use them once, I believe. And,
I'm sure it varies based on the product, yeah.
Yeah, and so they got to toss them, and so their outlet for them is to go to the breweries, and just regular guys like you and me
And the cigar world, matter of fact, ages leaves in bourbon barrels often also. The curing, yes, there's a couple of cigars I found where they actually age the tobacco leaves or cure them. There's aging and there's curing, and there's a couple of different processes that we go through.
which is not to be confused with infusion.
Correct.
That's a whole different thing.
Correct.
But yeah, we should look into, because I know there's a whole aging process with just the raw leaves and how you do that. So that's like step 3. First you got to grow good stuff.
Yeah.
And then you got to harvest it right. And then you got to store it right. Then you got to age it right. You're not just grabbing dry leaves off a plant and rolling them into a cigar. We should try to get a guest who does or is involved with or knows that process to talk about it on one of our podcasts.
But yeah, I know Perdomo is big on their bourbon barrel leaves on a couple of their cigars. I haven't tried them because I wasn't sure. I'm not a fan of flavored or infused cigars. So
Me neither.
I wasn't sure what to expect for a flavor profile, but maybe it's worth giving it a shot because that might be interesting, just to digress from this conversation, to a bourbon barrel aged leaf in a cigar and see what it's like.
I can't imagine any stick from Perdomo is not good.
Me neither. Yeah.
So whatever it is, I want to try it because those guys are.
So the players that I interact with online in the cigar world, or that I know in some way, is Nick Perdomo, and then you've got Nick Goss, and then you've got Nick Melillo.
There's a lot of Nicks in
It
the
seems there's
business.
a lot of Nicks in the cigar world.
Interesting. That is
Yeah. At least the ones that I've run into so far.
in a Venn diagram, like cigars you really love. And
They're made by
and
Nick.
Made by Nick. That's a big crossover.
It's a Venn diagram with only one circle. There's no overlap. It's just one circle. Nick. So, as much as I'd love to talk about whiskey and cigars all morning, we have these brushes that we sell and combs that we sell, and a lot of guys in the beard world use brushes and combs. And we've interacted with many people online explaining the proper way to apply oil and which brushes to use, and we did an episode a while back about the difference between different brushes and combs and their purposes. But something that a lot of people don't realize, so we'll use this as an educational video.
And this question has been asked of us both at events and in online interaction.
Yeah. How do you clean them?
Right.
And yes, there's a right way to clean your brush, and especially with a boar's hair brush. Just like your beard hair is a wick and it absorbs all the oils from your skin, which is why you need to rehydrate the skin with beard oil. And then we put balms in and we brush those through. And the boar's hair brush is the perfect vehicle for distributing that through the beard. The hair in a boar's hair brush is natural hair, and it has a wicking effect to it also. So these brushes are constantly absorbing every different oil you use and every different scent profile of oil you use. So you get to a point where your brush is filled with or saturated with all of these oils over time. And oils do eventually go bad, and then you also get all these different scent profiles that if you smell your brush, you can't identify, oh, that was Lucky 13 that I used last night. It's all the scents that are all built up together. And that should be cleaned.
And another reason for cleaning them is that those oils can become a medium for bacteria.
Yep.
So there's good reasons to clean them, and I think today we're gonna show you how we clean them when we do the regular cleaning.
I'm going to make some room here, and I'm going to bring some things into screen. And I'm going to let you, as our mad scientist, discuss the process and what we're doing here.
Here, why don't you show off
Yep.
our brush?
So what we have here
Water in it. Okay.
is a pan of water about 1/2 inch deep. And that pan is the water is about equal to the thickness or the height of the bristles in a nice Lucky Boy boar's hair brush. We also have our sandalwood comb, which does not retain oils the same way that the boar's hair brush does, but it should be washed also, because as a wood product, it does have a certain amount of absorption into the wood.
It's not going to absorb, but there will be surface accumulation in the oil. By the way, this is one of our most popular combs. It's a really hefty grip.
That's the large comb on our website.
That's the large comb. It's made out of sandalwood. It's very well done, so there's no rough edges or snags. It goes through the beard really nicely. I love this one. My buffalo horn one is my favorite, sandalwood with buffalo horn. It's hard for us to keep those in, and sourcing them is challenging, so at any given time our website may or may not have them. So you want to start with a clean water, and then I will usually use our shampoo. Our shampoo is not a stripping shampoo, it's a co-wash shampoo, and so it's a little lighter. Stronger, and I'm less inclined to do this, but it does have some advantages,
I'm more inclined, because I don't do this as often as I should.
I gotcha.
And my basis for this product is, A, it cuts oil and grease like it's designed to do when used as a dish detergent, but it's also environmentally and bodily friendly.
Right,
Dawn dish detergent.
right.
The original orange antibacterial Dawn dish detergent.
Exxon Valdez duck wiper.
Yes, yeah, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, we all remember Exxon Valdez, and they're using Dawn dish detergent to clean the ducks.
That's right.
And the birds and everything affected by the oil spill, because it's environmentally friendly, but effective at cutting oil.
So, with the ducks in mind, just a couple of drops. Maybe with that volume, a couple of more drops. There we go.
Want to hand me those paper towels you have over there? Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yep.
Good. So, you're not making a bubble bath. You're just creating
you're dispersing the soap in the water. It's good for the water to be a little warm because soap is going to disperse better in that, but not hot because that can warp wood. Next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that there's no residual beard hairs in there. And you can even wipe the comb down before you put it in just to make it easier. And because this is wood, you do not want to leave this in here for very long. It is all natural wood. So we're going to leave it in there just for a minute. The depth of water is important because when you submerge the bristles, you want to get them totally submerged and less in the wood. Some is going to get in the wood. Our brushes are bamboo wood. So it's a natural product. It's not plastic, and it will absorb water. So you want to be careful about that. I don't know if you can see it, but our depth is just right up to the wood. And again, with the brush, you want to make, which I've already done, you want to make sure there's no residual beard hairs in there. And just give those a minute. And while you're letting those soak, that's a perfect time, for a
Take a
libation.
sip. Yep.
And a puff.
Or two.
Now, while we're sitting here doing our favorite activities,
Cleaning brushes.
well, smoking cigars.
Drinking whiskey.
Top four: drinking whiskey, smoking cigars,
Drinking beer.
fun time with the ladies, riding motorcycles, and making YouTube videos.
So, now that we've soaked for about a minute or so, let's get some locally sourced bottled water. Really doesn't give a shit where it comes from.
Yeah, as long as it's clean water, you're okay. Now, I don't know, if you live in a city and you've got heavily chlorinated, fluorinated tap water, I don't know, maybe use bottled water. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. So I'm going to stick that in there. So I shook off the excess, and we're going to use that as our measure to get right up to where we want to get. And we're going to let that...
You couldn't ask for a better volume than a bottle to
Well,
fit that pan.
What happened is I paid really close attention to your contact aspect ratio discussion and your bourbon finishing process.
Or you just grabbed a glass pie plate and it worked out. And it worked perfect, yeah. It's better to be lucky than good.
That's your favorite thing. So again, just shake off the excess, put it in the clean water.
So the comb is quick. You just rinse it and it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, and we can take that out.
Because that doesn't absorb like the hairs do. So there's less
Right.
soap residue to be rinsed off.
Get your little wiping activity on screen. So you want to get that nice and dry.
Is that good for you?
It is.
Okay.
A little harder. Good.
I'm not going there.
So hold on,
I'm not going any further.
because I just want to make sure you get all of the moisture off, and I'm not as dainty as you are. You are a dainty guy. Now, if you want to, and it's probably a good idea,
You're getting way too tedious for me here.
you can, go through, you can take your paper towel and go through each line, each time. Probably not necessary. You do want to make sure it's completely dry. And you can tell this on screen, the slip is gone now. You can tell by your field of vision that there's
But-
no,
By the slip is gone, that means that the oils are gone.
the oils are gone. And, there's no swell or inflammation of the wood, if that's a thing. I don't know if that's a thing. So,
Inflammation of the wood.
yeah, it hasn't swollen. Is what I'm
I'm going to leave that right there because
Yeah.
it goes so many different ways with
So
that.
many different ways. And then with the brush, just tap it out. You can see all the moisture coming out of there. You want to get that dry. And you want to let it fully dry before you get a balm or, because the brush is mostly coming in contact with balm.
What I do is when I do this, I'll take that brush after I get as much moisture out as I can, and I'll leave it upside down, bristles up, in a sunny window, just to help dry it out.
And disinfect, sun,
Yeah.
sun disinfects. Beauty. And that is how we clean our brushes and combs. And try it at home, it's pretty easy. The critical piece here is do not let it sit in the water for too long. These are wooden products. The boar's hair bristles, they're not impacted by the water at all, nothing to worry about there. But you don't want to soak the wood for too long. So don't.
And keep in mind that the bristles go into that body of wood.
Yeah.
So there was a wicking value of moisture that got up into those individual pockets that the bristles are pressed into. So even though it may be dry to the surface, that's why I like it upwards, so that you can really make sure that that fully dries out, so you don't harbor moisture inside those pockets.
Good advice. Good advice. And the sunlight thing is perfect. If
Yep.
you've got a sunny day and you can, I wouldn't let it cook in the sun for too long, but long enough to dry out.
Yep.
Yeah, so we hope that tip was helpful. You got to clean these things. You can't just use them indefinitely, like you might say a hairbrush. I mean, technically, we should be cleaning our hairbrushes too.
But a lot of those hairbrushes have plastic
Yeah.
bristles or pins on them.
Yeah, and also I don't use product in my hair, so like it's just
But I use a hairbrush on my
the
beard.
normal grease. Yeah, gonna break you of that bad habit.
Well, it's for reshaping after I wake up. It's
There you
not for grooming per se. Oh, that's part of the grooming process, but
You know, this highlights.
we disagree on this.
Well, we don't disagree. We have different ways of doing it.
Right.
As everybody out there in the beard world does. You all do your own thing. And sometimes other people want to do the same thing you're doing, and sometimes they want to do something different.
And that's the best thing about the beard world so far, and the people we've interacted with, and the other brand owners we've interacted with, right? There's different ways to formulate, there's different application methods in the bottles. Nobody's right and nobody's wrong. We do it our way because we feel that's the best way. Other guys do it a different way because they feel that's the best way. And you know what they say about opinions and
I do.
assholes.
I do.
So, you do it your way, I'm hoping our way taught you something, and beard your way.
Exactly. And just cutting back to your brush, the reason people don't use hair brushes.
See, this is why we disagree,
No,
because
but-
you had to bring it up again.
No, I'm gonna actually give
I mean,
you-
proof we disagree.
No, I'm gonna give you props for this.
Okay.
Because there's a chance that you can break and cause split ends and different things for your beard hair. When you start pushing a beard out, that starts to become an issue. If you've got breakage and you've got split ends, your beard is just not gonna be that great. I will say the brush you use among hair brushes is probably the best brush you can use for a beard. It's like a rectangle with a lot of shallow bristles,
Mhm.
and the bristles are not rigid.
They're very flexible. There's
Yeah.
there's the base of the brush, holding it like this, and then there's these plastic bristles that almost have a little ball at the end.
Yep.
Which is great for grabbing a knot and pulling through it, because if it was a straight bristle, it would slip out, but the ball kind of grabs, and I only use it in the morning. When I sleep on my side, so I got this out here like this when I wake up in the morning. I use that just to pull it all back into place and
Yeah.
take care of any knots
Yeah.
or tangles.
And you have like caveman epic style beard growth. Like you have the beard growth that a lot of guys would like, especially guys with thinner beards. My beard is, I keep it tighter on the sides. Like I never have any problem just combing it out in the morning. But everybody's different. A lot of our customers and our bearded brethren style their beards more. We tend to get it looking in some shape, right, and then go about our day. We're not looking to do photo shoots, and usually when the weather is right,
we're out there.
We're out there on the bikes, and
That was the stupidest thing I've ever done on camera.
that was so not on brand with you originally, Jay. That was off brand.
It was funny here for a
Don't
minute.
ever do that again.
Yeah. I apologize.
No, but it was.
No more Madonna references in any way.
But it was relevant.
No offense to Madonna, just not our style.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, I just wanted to like brag a little bit. I did ride my motorcycle 3 days ago in February in the Northeast. I wasn't the only bike out there. But when our friends say, you know, did you put your bike up for the winter yet? I'm like, I never put my bike up for the winter. It's on a trickle charge because it runs less. And also I use it for a stereo in my garage.
Oh,
So,
that's creative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you know,
yeah.
it's got the volume.
So by using your bike in February, you mean you turn the key on and listen to the radio while smoking a cigar in your garage?
no, I mean, I was out on the road. I was out, you know, I ran out to Kent and on some of my favorite roads and hit some twisties. They were mostly clear. That's a little more sketchy. But, and then I did a cigar run.
The problem is the sand on the road this time of year. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Well, we had
Especially
had-
up in New England.
We had some rain. There was a little bit of snow. The rain washed the snow away and washed
Rinse the
much,
sand to the gutter.
much of it. But sometimes the roads aren't. You got to be really clear,
Yep.
really careful riding up here during snow season.
So this time of year, I tend to ride my dual sport bike more often than my Harley.
Yeah,
Because one, it's just a fun bike to ride.
sure.
I feel like a 12-year-old kid on my KX80 or KX90 or whatever I forget, I think it was a KX80, my first little two-stroke dirt bike.
Yeah.
But I get on that dual sport bike and I'm like, man, I feel like a 12-year-old kid again. I mean, that's fun. And I don't care how it looks. I don't think there's anything
Oh, I don't care what
perspective-wise
you-
about a dual sport
yeah, I
bike.
don't care.
But
Yeah, I don't care what you-
man, riding down the road, you get into sand and dirt and sometimes snow pockets. Who gives a shit? You plow right through it.
Yeah.
Man, those dual sports are fun bikes to ride.
Some of my best riding buddies are on BMW dual sports. And,
Yep.
They're pretty amazing. Those things are pretty amazing.
I want to get Mama one.
Yeah.
BMW. They got a nice, I think it's a one-lunger 650, 550, 650, something like that. It's a GS. They're dual sport. So there's actually a
Super
defining difference
super
between a
expensive
dual
to maintain.
sport and an adventure bike. They look the same, but they're two different things. And so here's my assessment of the difference between the two. A dual sport bike is a dirt bike that's street legal. An adventure bike is a street bike that has been made to be off-road capable. Does that make sense to
Such
you?
as the Pan American, the Harley's Pan American.
I would lump that somewhere next to like a pile of horse shit.
Well, I was going to ask your opinion, but I didn't want to open a can of worms.
I just opened
and
it.
bam, can of worms.
There it is. In my opinion, that Pan American is halfway between a shit and a fart, and it just doesn't do anything for me.
Listen, I love.
God bless Harley and creative, intuitive thinking, but it's not for me.
I love my Harley. I love the way it sounds, I love the way it feels, I love the way it rides. I don't like how expensive it is to keep up. I don't like the stupid engineering things that they've done. But if I wanted a reliable bike, I'd get a fucking Honda. You know, and I've ridden Hondas. I had a VTX. I don't know if we knew each other.
Nope.
We didn't know each other.
You had your Road King when we first met,
Right.
your last bike.
Yeah. I had a Honda VTX 1300, which was, I think that's the year Harley sued them because it sounded too much like the Harley.
So it was drilled out slip-ons and a carburetor.
Meanwhile, they're making electric bikes now, and they're
Yeah.
putting speakers in them to go, "Rrrr," so it sounds.
That's funny.
Fuck
Like,
that.
I got no problem with electric bikes. I think they're cool. Electric bikes, electric cars,
Fucking dive into that technology. I think it's cool. For me, in my lifetime, it's never gonna,
It's never going to be a replacement.
It's never gonna replace the suck, bang, blow of a fucking.
And there we go again with
combustible-
innuendo.
A combustible engine.
Combustible engine?
Well,
Internal combustion.
Internal combustion engine.
I don't want to be
Although-
straddling a combustible engine.
Well, they're all combustible, under the right circumstances.
They're all, what is that definition of a biker? Somebody's willing to straddle a can of gasoline under a constantly exploding piece of machinery. But
Otherwise known as zero fucks given. Zulu Foxtrot.
everything will kill you. Choose something fun to die with. That's what I say.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, it's been fun hanging out with you in the secret undisclosed location,
Located 27 feet below the permafrost. And I think we're done, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, you and I aren't done because there's still whiskey and cigars, but
And I'm going to finish that mason jar, and I'm going to finish this Dissident, and thank you to Dissident for making a great cigar.
in this Gurkha,
Tough shit for you that I only had one, but I'm enjoying it.
Honestly, I'm really happy with this Gurkha, and I appreciate it. I love the label. The label was kind of cool.
Mhm.
A little old school. Yeah.
so thank you once again for
Yeah.
providing both alcohol and tobacco. The only thing we're missing is firearms.
Man, we're like this close to having the ATF knock at the door.
All right, good to see you guys. Have a great day. Remember, safety second. Stay classy. Be safe.
And like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell 7 friends, share it, smoke good cigars, drink good whiskey, and live your best fucking beard life.
And